You know, I probably could have chosen a different time to do this vlog, but at the same time, filming it during a thunderstorm actually fits the tone for this place that we are about to visit today. Out here in the middle of the Chattahoochee National Forest, there are remains of what once was a mansion. To be more specific, this mansion was built in 1977 and was the site of a story that is filled with murders, satanic worship, drug trips, and the place that I am referring to that we are going out today is known as the Corpsewood Manor. If y'all do not know the story, it was back in the 1980s. You had Dr. Charles Scudder and his gay lover, Joey Odom. Joey Odom was actually his cook that cooked for his family. You see, Dr. Charles Scudder, he had been married twice to 2 women until, well, he finally, I guess you could say, went the other way. No judgment on there. So in the 1970s, these 2 men, they sold off everything they had in Chicago, well, not Chicago, but off in Ohio. And they came down here just to live the simple life. And they built a very large mansion out here. This mansion, people that would come out here to hunt or do other outdoor activities, they would be minding their own business, kind of like we're doing now. And then they would come upon this big, giant 2-story building, gargoyles everywhere, images of Lucifer, the fallen angel himself. And they would just turn around and they would keep walking. You see, Dr. Charles Scudder, he was an avid Satanist. Practiced quite a bit within the Church of Satanism. One of the things that he really liked was the concept of freedom and doing whatever he pleased. And well, anyway, these 2 men, they weren't trying to do any harm whatsoever. But it was until about the 1980s when 2 drug addicts that were acquaintances of theirs came to meet up with them. You see, these 2 guys, they really didn't have anything to their names. And the reason why they came out here so often to be with Charles and Joey is because more often than not, they could get drunk for free. It wasn't an issue. The two men did not care on who came out here to this site. They just liked having people. Well, these two drug addicts, they took advantage of this, and this is where the men were murdered. The original argument was that that Charles Scudder had laced the men's drinks with LSD, and that's what caused them to be under the influence while he did some rather bad things. Well, anyway, what had happened, these men had left. They were angry, or at least one of them, because he felt like he had been coaxed into doing one of these things. So anyway, these 2 men, they come back. They think that these men have money, like lots of money. So, well, I believe they tied up they tied up Joey first. Charles, he sat down. Joey was the first one to really try to do anything. He was shot in the back of the head. Then Charles got up, and sadly he was shot too. And, well, along with that, the men's 2 mastiffs were shot as well. And quite honestly, nobody really thought anything until, mainly because these men lived so far out in the woods and they only came out so far often. But they would have a few friends that would come out to this site. But it was a friend of theirs who, he realized that a close friend of theirs had died. And he came out here to tell them up until, well, that's when he found them. The two drug addicts, they got down to as far as Louisiana. Then they decided to break off things. One went his separate ways, and the other went up to, he went back home, turned himself in. And actually at one point, how a lot of this got found out about was one of the women that was was the girlfriend of one of these guys. They kept her tied up and locked up in a trailer until she got out. She managed to get to the cops. That's when they were found out about, and I think both of them are still in custody. They did kill another victim. He was a naval officer. They threw his body out in the middle of the back of the woods of a gas station until he was found. And well, this is the story of where we are heading. Corpsewood Manor. So let's do it, you guys. Anchor down. Alrighty, after about 20 minutes of walking, we have made it to the site of Corpsewood Manor, or I should say, the ruins. It took close to 3 years for Charles Scudder and Joey Odom to build their love castle. And at one point, this was the entrance to the building. Most notably, the infamous gargoyle that used to sit like right here. As you can tell, it is no more. You see, after all this took place, they more or less burned this building. And it has been sitting out here since the 70s, just rotting away. I've heard different stories that people are trying to clean up this area just because of its historical significance, but it kind of looks like they really haven't done a whole lot to it. So imagine this is where people used to enter Corpsewood Manor. Now you can see just a big giant pine tree sits out. Looks like more stuff has fallen through. Another tree has fallen down. Honestly, this is really freaky. You can see the next wall like right here. Very, very creepy. All right, you guys, this is where the living room and house would have been. Now, as you all can tell now, there's not really a whole lot left. At one point, there used to be a stairwell that used to lead to the second floor. Now there's not really anything left other than maybe just that one step right there. But in the crime scene descriptions, this right here is where Joey and Charles Scudder would have been found. It's in a really badly dilapidated area of the house. But if you were to follow the stairwell to the outside, I probably wouldn't say the outside, the mastiffs would have probably been found probably right around in here, which there's not really anything left in this spot, but this is where the bodies and the mastiffs would have been found, is in this spot where there's nothing but vines and trees and whatnot. But as you would go outside, this is where it all started. This is the remnants of the pink room, or at least the beginning of the pink room. You see, this is where this all began, this murder. It used to stand about 3 stories tall. The first floor was a chicken coop. The second floor, I think it was just storage, and the third floor was what Charles and Joey described as their pleasure room. And this is where they would worship Satan, I guess you could say. This is where they would do drugs. This is where they would just kind of live off the land. And ultimately, this is where they died. Now there's only trees and bricks left. So let's check out the rest of this. Now, hidden in the brush right here is another one of the old buildings. As you can see, there is also not a lot left in here. It's mostly just, here, let me do this real quick. Looks like somebody's been burning something. But as you can see, there's not really a whole lot left. But for the time that it was, this house was impressive, to say the least, being out in the middle of nowhere. So now we are going to walk into this area. Other vloggers that I've seen that have come out to this area, they have not really filmed these walls right here. I really don't know why. I mean, here is well, I'll show you what the outside of it used to look like, but this is what it used to look like. And as you can tell, it's nothing but walls and, well, not walls, nothing but leftovers of brick. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think where I'm standing, this is where murder took place. So let's walk around to this site, or this next spot. Here is some more remnants of what the house used to look like. You can kind of see where some of the brick is left over. So where I'm standing, right here is where, again, the bodies would have been found. Right here, the mastiffs would have been right there. And here's the walls. I think this is probably where the Baphomet stained glass portrait would have been. But obvious, there's really not anything left. Now, as I'm standing out here, I can't believe that, you know, most of this is overgrown, and what it used to look like was a tall 2-story building. Now there's nothing but ruins. So anyway, you guys, we're gonna get back on the trail. It is raining. I am hearing some thunder. That's not a good sign. So we have to get back to the car. But anyway, guys, remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care, and that y'all want to see more awesome videos. So without further ado, you guys, this vlog is over.